Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another episode of Scientology Secrets. I'm joined today by my lovely wife, Claire.
Hey, hey.
And we are going to keep going with our Scientology Secrets series since it's such a big hit. If you're just joining in, let us know in the comments down below where you're coming from. And today's secret giveaway word is Xenu. Okay, we've done that one in the past, but I wanted to do Xenu because I saw a comment. It was actually on our podcast where somebody said that they were afraid that our channel was like some sort of mining operation for ex-Scientologists that might be thinking of getting out. And I just wanted to let everybody know, if you say the word Xenu or body thetan or anything else, you cannot be a legitimate Scientology organization or group or channel or operation. Xenu is a highly confidential term. That's the big bad alien guy. We covered that on Secrets episode 1. But Xenu is a bad alien guy, big bad alien, and you can't talk about him in Scientology. It is strictly forbidden, right, Claire?
Yep. Suppressive act. Faux show.
Yeah. So the secret word Xenu. So that's we're good. We're legit because we can say Xenu. You will not. I don't think under any circumstance can a Scientology talk about Xenu, right?
No,
Under
definitely.
any, like not even.
No, not even between two OTs.
Yeah, there's
not allowed to talk about it.
No Xenu's discussion.
Nope.
Period.
Nope.
If you don't read about Xenu on the page where L. Ron Hubbard wrote about Xenu, then that's the only place you can really even see the word Xenu in Scientology is in a OT materials.
Yes.
Or a lecture or a Hubbard lecture where he talks about Xenu.
Right. And true to Scientology form, before you're even ever allowed to read about Xenu, you signed multiple documents saying you will never say anything. And I think mentioning the name Xenu carries, I don't know, $50,000 penalty or something.
It's enough that they don't say the word Xenu.
Yeah.
How much ever it is.
After however many thousands of dollars or tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands you already spent to read the word, you're not going to, by that point, the ship sailed. You're going to keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. Okay. So while we're getting ready, we'll just, I'll just put up some of the folks. We got a whole bunch of people in here already that have let us know where they're watching from.
Yep. Pocono Pluck. Hello from Pennsylvania. Thank you for joining us. Lupita from Texas. Greetings from the UK. Yay. Melanie Johnson. Hi from West Virginia. Hello. And Anita. Hello from the Netherlands. There we go. Hello from the Clearwater, Florida. SP Danny. Awesome. Greetings from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Betsy Sue. Just call me Betsy. Mary Kay. Hi from New Mexico. Hello from Minnesota. Sherry. Hello. And another one from the Netherlands. Awesome. Good evening from sunny Reading, UK. Hello. Hey from Texas to all you lovely SPs. Hi, KB. Thanks for joining us. Hi from Indiana. Bear's mom. Jamie, hello from Southern Utah. There you go. We got a good mix here. Greetings from Montana. Necessary Trouble. One of my all-time favorite YouTube names. Yes. Trevenon, good evening from the Netherlands. Nice. Awesome.
This is a good one. I just thought I'd put it up.
Trevenon. Wait, Scientology has secrets? Right? Who knew? Hello.
It's Casey.
There we go. Can't have a live without talking about Casey.
I do want to say that the last time you read a comment from Cassie, you said Casey, not me.
Well, I know.
You said Casey.
See, that's you rubbing off on me, unfortunately. I'm just kidding. Hello from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Lily. Catherine Olson in the house. Hello from the Willamette Valley. Oh my gosh, it's just never ending.
We had somebody, I gotta say this too. This is the funniest. We should have clipped it. There was a person who wrote in and they said, they just wrote, I don't remember what the comment was, but their name was Hamit Agian. That's what Claire said. Hamit Agian. And I said, it says ham it up again. And anyway, it was a good
In
one.
my defense, I was not wearing my glasses. I've made very clear that I'm on the struggle bus with my glasses. So there you have it. So sorry.
Okay,
But yeah, Amy Scobie called me and she was like, oh my gosh, it was like Saskatchewan all over again. Because we all remember that drama.
Okay, here's another few last ones here.
Harvey, hello from Birmingham, England, home of the worst Scientology org in the world. There you go. Yeah, Manchester org is where my parents were when I was born, which is not far from there. Madison from DC. Any secrets about DC org would be great. Love you guys. Keep up the fight. We are behind you. Amazing. Thank you, Madison. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I didn't realize that if we get into individual organization secrets,
Yeah.
we would be here forever. We're mainly just going to cover the overall Scientology secrets.
Yeah, we don't need to be here forever. Just until the day Scientology stops abusing and hurting people. Then we'll be done. Then we shall retire.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Mark, New Delphi is now in Lakeview Terrace. Oh, okay. I think that's the same one that's been there for a while. The one that used to be in La Cañada in Flint Ridge, La Cañada, Flint Ridge. But now I think the Lakeview Terrace one's been there for a while.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Trisha.
Yes.
Okay. So everybody knows what the secret word is. Put that in the comments. Xenu, you'll be entered in to win. We're going to do a giveaway at the end of the episode. So some of the secrets that we've already covered are that RTC, Religious Technology Center, they run everything. And that when I say they, that's David Miscavige. David Miscavige runs all of Scientology in toto. There's nothing in Scientology that he is not in control of.
Yes. And in fact, last week we were talking about how the matters of RTC, Religious Technology Center concern, have been removed from their website. And what we didn't talk about in that conversation is the fact that in every organization on Earth, there's literally a report box with those matters of RTC concern posted, so that anyone can send a report directly to David Miscavige, which further documents that David Miscavige controls everything.
And don't they give a bounty if you give something that results in some kind of action or prosecution or it's a $10,000 reward. It says it right on the matters of RTC concern.
We'll have to pull that up. I don't remember the amount, but I think also for reporting squirrels, people altering Scientology technology, there was a whole campaign about that in the 80s that had a bounty with it, I believe.
Yeah.
We'll have to ask some people to do some deep diving on the interweb to find that.
Exactly. So RTC runs everything. The big secret in Scientology is the space aliens. I will say that is the one thing they don't want anybody to know, and that's why they have all the operating Thetan levels that you do in Scientology, whether you're studying lectures or written words by L. Ron Hubbard, or you're doing the auditing where you locate and eradicate the body Thetans that are infested. All Scientologists have all these body Thetans. Well, according to Scientology, we all do.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the two big secrets, Xenu and the body Thetans, which I still think is an amazing band name. If some band out there takes that, I wouldn't be sad at all. Xenu and the body Thetans is a good name.
Yeah. And I still think, by the way, that one of the all-time best videos was Jason Begay talking about the levels and all that. It's now a classic talk exposing Scientology's tactics of how they lure people in and keep them in.
Yeah, there's two Jason videos that Mark Bunker did. And I'm going to put a link in the description to those that are really good. One is just Jason Begay talking for like an hour, I want to say, maybe more, maybe less. And then there's another one that's just a little clip from one of those interviews, which is really hilarious, which I'll put a link to.
Yeah.
Yeah, what else is there? We covered that. Oh, the thing that we wanted to cover today was Scientology, where the money goes in Scientology. Is that you?
I hear it.
Claire's laptop's about to take off and go to Tampa.
Hopefully it doesn't go to Tampa.
Anyway, just getting on approach, just getting its lined up on the
Cleared
runway.
for takeoff.
It's done now. It
there
just
we go.
wanted to just do it that for a second. That was fun.
Well, that was fun.
Anyway, the thing we wanted to cover today was where the money goes in Scientology. Because when you give your money to Scientology in any place in the world, it has an exact, there's exact percentages at every step of the way that are taken out so that none of the money is left anywhere. There's no leftover money. Every cent is accounted for. So, and I would say if there was $100 that came in, the organization that you're giving that to, they maybe get about $50 of that, maybe, depending on what's going on. And then most of it goes all the way up to RTC, Church of Scientology International, and author services, because they're taking a royalty fee on L. Ron Hubbard's works. And basically it goes to all these different places. So there's no real way in a Scientology organization, there's not really any way for somebody to steal that money or get that money, because there's just not really that much money laying around. And
right.
they're depositing I want to even say that maybe now they don't even have a lot of cash. It's mainly credit cards or checks.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is that in Scientology, the Sea Org members and the staff members make very, very, very little money. In some cases, for a long time, the Sea Org members were only making $46 a week if they were being paid. But a lot of those Sea Org members weren't getting paid.
Right.
Staff members, on the other hand, they were sometimes getting paid more per week, but then they have to pay for their own apartment and their own food and their own transport. They have to pay for all their expenses. So even if they're getting $200 a week, they have a whole world of expenses.
And we've heard stories from staff members, organization staff members. So they're not members of the Sea organization. They have either signed a 2.5-year contract or a 5-year contract. And in some cases, they were making less than the pay of Sea organization members.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. But by the way, you reminded me of something, circling back to Xenu and Religious Technology Center.
Yeah.
As we know, they statistically track everything. And so every hour of processing that people do when they're on the upper levels, a portion of that money goes to Religious Technology Center.
That's a good point, because Religious Technology Center is entrusted with protecting the upper level materials, which is all of the Xenu and the body thetans.
Yes. And Religious Technology Center owns them and licenses the organizations to use them.
That's right. So they have this whole structure. It was, what was it called? It was called something. It was called the reorg or
the corporate,
corporate sort out.
Right.
They called it the corporate sort out. So Church of Scientology International, Religious Technology Center, Author Services, CST, they're all set up in such a way that, like, for instance, the Sea organization has members in all of those organizations: Church of Scientology International, Religious Technology Center, Author Services, CST, all these different entities that are actual corporations on paper.
Yep.
All of their members are members of the Sea organization, but the Sea organization does not exist on paper. It does not exist in the real world. It's not a corporation. It's not an S corp. It's not an LLC. It's nothing. It doesn't even exist in the real world. It doesn't exist.
Right.
And the thing that I wanted to say, which was probably the big secret, is that so all this money's going everywhere, and the Sea Org members and no matter what organization they're from, they get paid like a stipend, basically just money for coffee and cigarettes, which is $50. They take taxes out of that, so you get $46.26, if I recall, or 28 cents, one of those, depending on what the SDI and the FICA were that year. Those are just dumb tax code things. Anyway, David Miscavige, he doesn't get paid that amount.
No, he doesn't.
What is the amount of being in RTC and being aware of some of the finances? And this is available on the internet. You can read, you can find this. There's tax forms or religious technology filings that had to be put into the government before and during their transition to getting tax exemption.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember what the number was. I just want to see if you remember what his yearly salary amount. What do you remember it being?
As I recall, 300,000.
300,000. So the Sea Org members that are working 120 hours a week, every week, 365 days, 52 weeks, all that good stuff, they're getting $46 a week. Now, I'm not a math wizard, but I think 300,000 a year makes his weekly amount a little bit more than them.
Yeah, it might be more than all Sea Org members combined internationally, actually.
I think I can remember on my Social Security statement of one of the years where we got paid regularly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I tapped out at about 2K in a
Mm-hmm.
year, like
Yep.
where we got paid every week. We got the $46 and we might've got a Christmas bonus of $100 or something like that.
Right.
I think I got about 2K that year.
Right. So 46 times 52 is 2392.
So if you get paid every
So-
week, you're making $2,300. And if you're David Miscavige, you're, what is that, 25K? What is he making? What's-
300K.
Yeah.
Oh, per week.
Yeah, what's the
Yeah,
weekly
I
thing?
was working on a different calculation. He's getting the pay of 125 Sea Org members per year.
He is.
Yes. Yes.
How do you figure that out? Oh, because you divided 300K by 2,300.
Right, exactly.
What's 300K by 52?
Yep.
What is it?
Basically 6K rounded up, 5,800.
Okay, so he's making. Wow, he doesn't actually make that much.
I know, that's the thing. I mean, compared to relative real world salaries, it's just the concept of it. And what we experienced and were paid for 15 years. Most of that time, we didn't have any idea what he was making.
Yeah.
And actually, the other thing too, that was the interesting piece of it, is that it was carefully structured and rigged so that David Miscavige was the number one pay amount.
Yeah.
And even though during the 15 years we were there, his next in command was Shelley Miscavige on the org structure.
And I want to say that one year, Shelley and Larice also got a large amount of money.
Yeah, no, they did.
But it wasn't anywhere near amount of the amount that he was getting.
Right. But it was carefully structured so that David was number one, Larice was number two, and Shelley was number three, because the lawyers advised that having a Mr. and Mrs. as number one and number two didn't look good. It wasn't good scenery, as they say.
Wow. Optics. Not good optics.
Yeah.
So think about that for a second, though. The Sea Org members are getting $46, and they have to pay for all their stuff too. They got to pay for their food and their coffee and this and that and the other thing. Room and board is covered. They're getting food, and they're getting three hots and a cot, but they're not getting anything more than that. I mean, even to the point where at the international headquarters, whenever the services staff, the facilities, Sea Org members would refill the bathrooms with toilet paper, they would literally fill the cupboards under the sink with toilet paper, and they would fill all the stalls with new toilet paper. And within a day or two, it would all be gone, because the Sea Org members would go in there, they'd use the facilities, and then they just take the roll with them, so that they had a roll at home, because no one's got time or money to be going out and squeezing the Charmin at the grocery store. That would be the last possible place you'd be able to go to get. Anyway, but now here's the key thing, and somebody did comment on this, and I wanted to bring this up as well. Ryan M said he might be paid $300K, but wasn't all of his expenses covered?
Yes, 100%.
Yes.
And then some.
So not only is all his gourmet seafood being flown in from the coast or driven in the case when we were in the Hemet, he was getting sushi driven in every day from Santa Monica Seafood. Shout out to Santa Monica Seafood.
Yep. I think the only thing that David and Shelley paid for personally was dog food for their 6 beagles.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That was coming out of their
They paid it personally. Yeah.
Dog food.
I think that's about it.
We had a dog. They weren't covering our dog food. We
No,
had to
they
cover
were
our
not.
dog. At least he had to pay for his dog food too.
We illegally had a dog. We broke the rules and got a dog.
Now, if he and by the way, not only were his expenses covered, but David Miscavige had an endless wish list of all the things that he wanted in life. When you're in Scientology and specifically in the Sea Org, you are encouraged and taught that you shouldn't need any physical objects to enrich yourself.
Yeah, in fact, if you had any desire to have nice objects, or like there's a Hubbard writing that says those shiny cars are driven by degraded men. It was like middle class PTS, which, backing up for a minute, just means that you are lured by wanting to live a normal life like everyone else in the real world, have a nice house, have nice clothes.
Didn't they call it? It was called
middle class PTS. PTS to the middle class.
PTS to the middle class, which means a potential trouble source to the middle class. Like the middle class is sucking you in to wanting things. Okay, so that being the bedrock of a Sea Org member, David Miscavige had this wish list of cars and motorcycles and bikes and cameras and scuba gear and underwater photography equipment. And every year, the Scientology organizations, all of them, pick something on the list. Now, there's 200 plus different organizations all over the United States, all over the world. And all the ones that I talked about, Church of Scientology International, CST, ASI, ESI, Executive Strata. And then you have all the continents, CMO ANZO, CMO PAC, which is Los Angeles, CMO East US,
CMO Latam.
See, they would all get Mexico. Him something.
Yeah.
And
or
so,
Latin America.
Yeah. So he would literally, at his birthday and Christmas time, there would be just shipments. Like if you look, we'll show this sometime too. If you look at the international headquarters property, they have these fly-through videos or drone shots of the property. If you go to the RTC building, it's called Building 50 in any of the videos. And I think I've done some of these videos as well, where we just talk about them. I think we should probably do a new one.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. We should definitely do that.
Anyway, there are garages next to this Building 50 building. And in this string of garages is where they store all the booty that people send him.
That's right.
The vehicle, all his personal vehicles and motorcycles and Harleys and all that stuff is in the garages, and then his underwater gear and his camera gear and it's just endless.
Exactly. And in contrast, I'm sure there's lots of people who have that in the real world, but it's the contrast to the lives of members of the Sea organization where this just is a stark difference. And to me, I still don't understand why there's not an cause for inurement investigation there, of exceedingly, huge personal benefit.
Well, I think the way they get around that is because they're gifts.
Yeah.
So he's getting a salary because he's the chairman of the board of directors for the Religious Technology Center, which is a joke because there's no board. It's just him.
Board of one.
Yeah. And then, so he's getting a salary from that job, which on paper and in the real world is legit. And also 300,000, it's not really that much in the overall scheme of things. And very likely he does get paid a lot more than that now. This was in the 90s this 300,000 figure. So he's probably getting millions of dollars at this point, but he doesn't have any expenses except for that dog food, which is probably not putting him out too much. They're probably buying the good stuff, though. I would guess that they're buying the good stuff. They're not giving him some of that cheaper dog food with all that aluminum in it. Anyway, he's not getting Sundays or, fresh food you can put in the fridge. But regardless, he's not paying for anything except for dog food. He's getting all these free gifts. So he doesn't need to buy anything. Like, he doesn't need to buy toys. He has all the toys in the world he could want. And then in addition to that, his facilities where he lives, those are all bought and paid for by Religious Technology Center.
Yep.
So all his residences and all his audio visual systems and all that stuff, those are pretty tricked out. I know. I've been to many of those places setting them up, so I knew about those.
Yep.
Anyway, the big secret in Scientology is the money that you give to Scientology. The only one person who benefits from it in Scientology is David Miscavige. There's no other Sea Org members that are even next in line getting a ton of money.
Yeah.
Or people in waiting on the sidelines. Okay. Does that mean I have to read the comments?
Yeah.
Okay, it's all good. Anyway, yeah. So that is, and the money, I mean, the organizations don't have enough. If you go to Buffalo organization, Scientology organization in Buffalo or Los Angeles or Florida, they barely have enough money to feed the crew, keep the lights on and the toilet paper rolls filled and the place clean. And they barely have enough money to pay for the dry cleaning of these fancy, maitre d' or valet suits that the Sea Org members wear. And the Scientologists that work in the organizations, they wear these, to them, fancy outfits that David Miscavige has sort of implemented over the past decade or two. They don't even have money to dry clean those. So the money is going up and up and up. And also, that's another key thing. All of Scientology management, all of the people that are writing these telexes and receiving telexes back and forth to all these different organizations, that's all funded by those percentages that come up from all the different organizations all over the world. And Flag, which is the Flag land base, which is the big property in Clearwater, Florida, where they have it's like basically that probably like 25 different buildings that make up all these different Sea Org base in Florida. That organization by itself makes more money than all of the rest of Scientology combined.
Yep.
That's a key thing everybody should know. If you added up every single other organization, whether it's a Sea Org or whether it's a Scientology organization that just has staff members, or it's a mission, all of the income from all of those organizations is not more than what just comes from Flag every week.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, in retrospect on the topic of staff pay, 100% to me, the low amount of pay was integral to how long we stayed. Felt like we were trapped there and couldn't get out, because if you have no money, I mean, when I escaped, I had money to make it to the Riverside County bus station. That was it. Like, not even out of the state,
That's right. I had to get you a ticket.
Right. You got me a ticket, which is the only reason, I succeeded, or a huge part of why I succeeded in getting away. It's just, if you have no resources, nowhere to go, on top of that, you're going to be pursued. And of course, we've learned many, many more examples of this in the years since we've left, and in the work we do through the Aftermath Foundation. I mean, the stories are just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, we always thought that it couldn't get worse when we were there.
Yeah.
And we were there for over a decade at the international headquarters. But every year you'd be like, there's no way it could get worse. Like, there's just no way that next year could be worse than this year. And then, of course, next year you'd be like, well, at least it can't get worse. And that just kept going. And so we just thought, you know, I don't think it's always going to get worse. At a
Right.
certain point, we were like, it is going to get worse.
We
It
have-
never doesn't.
We've never talked to someone who escaped and was like, hey, guess what? You know what? In 2015, you'll never believe it. Things got better.
Yeah.
Never happened.
Anybody who talks to somebody else who got out after them, they all the person who more recently got out is always like, oh man, you got out just in time. I mean, you're just like, what? And
Mhm.
when we talk to people that got out 10 years before us, we're like, oh dude, you got out just in time. You know, just like anybody who got out earlier got out just in time.
Yes.
No matter
completely.
what.
Yeah.
And yeah, it never got better. So, and we do hear from people that we're helping, and they tell us some of the stuff are going on, and we're just like, I can't believe not only are they still doing it, but they're doing it to a degree that is just mind blowing.
Yeah.
And all the mechanisms to go into covering up that they're still doing the thing that they're not supposed to be doing. You're just like, why don't they just pay these? Like, you would just think, and this is a good point. If they really did have millions and millions of members, who would care if 3 people left
Completely.
or there was some silly people on YouTube talking about them, or
Right.
they wouldn't need to put up hate websites on us, and they wouldn't need to send private investigators after us. If they had millions and millions of people, I mean, you're, as an organization at large, you're gonna have fall off. You're gonna have defectors. You're gonna have people that don't like it, and they're just gonna go. And that's part of doing business.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing David Miscavige got right. Actually, he used to say all the time that they are their own worst enemy. Scientology is their own worst enemy. That he got right.
Yeah.
He is his own worst enemy.
Yeah. Anyway,
100%.
Regardless of all that, when you do have, I think it was Lori Webster. Do you remember Lori Webster?
Yeah, I do.
She put out some kind of newsletter or something like that. They're trying to raise some money or get everybody to support something. And she said that they had gotten 11,000 people to support their thing.
Oh, yes. Tony Ortega covered this recently.
We should put a link to that. We'll put a link down in the description. But she basically said, when they got everybody to sign up,
an actual number.
Yeah, when they got everybody to sign up for their thing, even though they have millions and millions of members, they only got 11,000 people to sign up for this thing, which means that's probably the actual amount of people that are in the loop and doing Scientology.
Yep.
Because they have a lot of reach out. Like when they need somebody to do something in Scientology, they have a way of getting a hold of these people to do it.
Mhm.
Like they either call them or they email them or they text them or they get them to come into the organization. And they really do go to town on getting people to do stuff. If David Miscavige says, contact every single Scientologist and get them to come in and watch this video, they have to send compliance that they did that.
Yeah. And actually, that's one of the most common requests, or a very common request that we get into the Aftermath Foundation is, how do I get off their mailing list? How do I get them to stop contacting me? So we've developed a whole list of do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, and try all of these things. I think my favorite is the people that send back the foundation cards to the staff.
Yeah, so you can get, if you go to the aftermathfoundation.org, we can send you little business cards that just have our contact info, and it says, hey, if you need help or whatever. And I think how do they go out, like 100 or 50 in a package or whatever they want.
It's like stacks of 4 different designs of the cards that go out. So
sometimes people that are getting junk mail from Scientology, by the way, Scientology is, I would say they're number one in junk mail.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They produce and chop down more trees than anybody to send out to everybody they can every single week.
Yep.
And it is a statistic in Scientology, in every single organization. If they sent out 50,000 pieces last week, they got to send out 51,000 pieces this week. It never ends. So they're always, and I used to do this when I was there. For the time that I was in Los Angeles for about 6 months, that was my job. I was in ABLE International, the Association for Better Living and Education, and I was in charge of the what's called BMO, bulk mail out. And I had to go down to the printing press, and I had to go to the post office and make sure it got printed in time. And then and every Thursday before 2:00, I had to chase this down and go over to Myers and Sons, which is the fulfillment house, which was owned by Scientologists, and they were making so much money off of Scientology.
Mm-hmm.
They were handling all of these, all this bulk mail for all of the Los Angeles organizations. And it's a lot. It's a major operation. So people were getting those junk mail mailers, and then they have a return. I don't remember what it's called anymore. It's called a BRE, a bulk return envelope. I think that's what it's called.
Oh yeah, that's right. Or something. I don't know.
It's paid for. It's prepaid for by Scientology. So if you want to send them a check, you put it in your little envelope and send it back. Well, people have been putting aftermath cards in those little envelopes and sending them back.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's fun. And that will get you off the list, by the way.
Yeah. We've received enough responses from staff to those all over the map, but it definitely gets through surprisingly.
Yeah. So what else can we talk about on the finances? So we got David Miscavige gets all the money. Oh, so another way that and this is kind of, it was set up originally in the corporate sort out back in the 80s. It was originally set up this way so that L. Ron Hubbard could get money, and it wouldn't be traced.
Right.
And it wouldn't lead back to him. And when L. Ron Hubbard sort of went off of the management lines of Scientology, and he went off into hiding because the governments of the world were all trying to hunt him down.
Mm-hmm.
And Scientology had just been convicted of the largest infiltration into the United States government in its history. You can Google Operation Snow White. But when he was hiding, they had to reorganize the corporate structure of Scientology so that he basically, if he did get caught, he wouldn't be convicted because they would have rearranged everything. So it's like, no, you guys don't know what you're talking about. This is how we have it all set up. It's all legit. Well, by the time that they had almost finished that, L. Ron Hubbard died. Mm-hmm. He was chasing BTs till the very last second, and he was trying to get himself shocked. If people don't believe the BTs, there's stories out there about some of the people that were there with Hubbard. He was trying to hook himself up to car batteries to shock these body thetans that he could just not get rid of.
Mm-hmm.
And so that might be what OT 9 and 10 is. You might have to go get an e-meter from O'Reilly's, get a car, get some car batteries, go over to Advance Auto Parts. Mark 10 e-meters made up of 6 car batteries.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, he was trying to zap himself. And reportedly he did have a lot of cash there where he was at. But by the time he passed away, it was perfectly set up for whoever took over to be able to take advantage of this new corporate structure. Mm-hmm. And that was David Miscavige. So, yes, lots of fun. I'm trying to think of anything else. The CIA did not create Scientology. There is a lot of people that somebody wrote that in the comments. CIA created. No, they didn't. L. Ron Hubbard created Scientology. I won't say that there weren't CIA adjacent programs being done at the same time, because L. Ron Hubbard, before he did Scientology, you guys got to realize, before he started Scientology, he was messing around with Aleister Crowley, and they were doing rituals, and they were doing all sorts of psychedelics and trying to find the Antichrist and all this stuff. There was some nonsense that they'd be up to.
Yeah. Okay. I highly recommend reading Barefaced Messiah always by Russell Miller. The history in there debunks pretty much anything you ever might have believed about L. Ron Hubbard if you were ever in Scientology for any amount of time.
Yeah. And it includes stuff about his first wife and his second wife that he never had, and then his third wife.
Mhm.
Because he even said in an interview when he was married to was it what Mary Sue Hubbard,
Mhm.
and somebody said, "What about your second wife?" And he said, "I never had a second wife," even though he was married to Mary Sue Hubbard, which technically, if he never had a second wife, she would have been his second wife. He literally said on video,
Oopsies.
"I've never had a second wife."
She's my third wife, but I didn't have a second wife.
Anyway.
That's just, how that works. It's like saying, anyway, whatever.
There's a lot of
Oh my
nonsense
gosh.
happening in Scientology, and it came from L. Ron Hubbard. He was the source of it. But at the time, and you can read about it in Barefaced Messiah, all of the nonsense he was up to. But at the same time, the CIA was experimenting with LSD and dosing soldiers and all this other stuff. And I also think when you're in the Sea Org, one of the qualifications, which kind of makes it so you cannot join the Sea Org, is if you have taken LSD or angel dust.
Right. That's right. Exactly. It's an instant disqualification. But
And I think,
but even though that became a qualification, anyone who had already joined the Sea organization was just grandfathered in. Like
yeah,
my mother, for example.
your mom did LSD?
Yeah.
Whoa. And we're the bad guys, okay?
Right.
She's tripping balls on LSD, but we're the bad guys.
I mean, it was before I was born in the 70s, typical
Anyway.
hippie, but yeah.
There was a ton of people at the international headquarters, a ton of Sea Org members that had been there and worked directly for L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah.
Rick Cruzen, Gary Weesey,
Charlie
Rush, all these cats, and they had all done LSD. It was almost like, it was surprising how many people were there that had done LSD at the international headquarters.
Yeah, maybe there's a study on that. Like maybe that is what causes people to get into Scientology, and then we were just the fallout because our parents got in.
Yeah, that's wild.
Statistically,
I didn't even think about that till just now, because there was a ton of people that had done LSD. Didn't Peter Schless do LSD?
Yeah, it broke something in their brain that destroyed their resistance to cults.
But whatever it was about the LSD, and I want to say Hubbard he knew all about LSD.
Yeah. I don't know that. I'm sure
he knew all about LSD.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So he knew that sometimes, or at least Hubbard's theory was that the LSD got lodged in your fatty tissue.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And residual amounts of it would be in there. So you could be in the middle of mixing an L. Ron Hubbard lecture and making the sound all awesome, and then you just start tripping balls on LSD, and then you'd mess up the lecture.
Right.
So then he developed, that's exactly how the Purification Rundown came to be, was that he was trying to make movies and record lectures, and all these people that were Sea Org members that he just said, you're an audio engineer, you're a film mixer, you're a cameraman. They'd never done that before in their life.
Right. That wasn't the problem. It wasn't the problem that they were being asked to do jobs that they had no idea and no training for and no experience. That wasn't the problem.
Yeah.
The problem was that they had taken LSD and it was stuck in their fatty tissues.
Yeah. So L. Ron Hubbard developed the Purification Rundown, and he used the Golden Era Productions LSD members, the people who had taken LSD in the past. He used them as guinea pigs to do this Purification Rundown. Anyway, but yeah, the LSD thing, if there's no new Sea Org members that are being let in that have taken LSD.
No.
They definitely, that is a strict qualification. You cannot have taken that, and you can't take any sort of drugs if you're in the Sea organization.
Yeah, though that being said, actually, you reminded me. So you mentioned Peter Schless.
Yeah.
He joined the Sea organization after that rule came out, but it was waived for him because he was a very talented musician.
Yeah, he wrote, if anybody who doesn't know, Peter Schless, he wrote the song On the Wings of Love. which is a big hit back in, I want to say, the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
On the wings of love, only the two of us. I don't remember who sang it. Al Jarreau. I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't remember who sang the song. I'm sorry. Okay. I wasn't listening to that type of tunes.
You did a pretty good job there, though.
If anybody knows the song, I did a good enough job.
Yeah.
To jog their memory.
Yeah.
But not.
You want to switch to you for a minute, and I'll swap this out so I can help you with the comment.
Okay. Claire's going to swap out her laptop. We're doing a hot swap. We're doing a Jeffrey. People are coming. Jeffrey Osborne, maybe. Oh well, that's Mark Fisher. He knows for sure. Well, what happened? The CIA. Oh, what happened to? What did it do? What did? Oh, there it is. Scientology peeling the onion. Hey, Mark. Shout out to Mark Fisher. He says it was Jeffrey Osborne, which I do believe. That sounds right. Somebody else here is saying James Ingram. Yeah. I don't remember. I just remember. I do remember that LSD is used to create the Manchurian candidates. Yeah. Tommy Davis is a drug revert. That is true, Harvey. Tommy Davis, he smoked marijuana when he was a kid, and he was a Scientologist. So he likes to deny that, but I have it on good authority that he did. And it was the folks that ran it. Catherine says, "Hey, mofo." That's Mark Fisher's nickname from David Miscavige, mofo. Yep. Oh, not James Ingram or Al Jarreau. It's okay. You two are youngsters.
Who said that?
Whoever's doesn't that I don't know. I like it. Gonna cue on the wings of love. Yeah, Peter Schless was still getting royalty checks at the gold base. I don't think they were that much. I want to say they're like $35 or $15, but it was considered an external influence that Peter Schless was still making money from the outside world, even though he was a Sea Org member and had been a Sea Org member for over a decade at the Golden Era Productions base where I worked. And he was still getting in trouble for getting that money. And anyway, are you fired up?
I'm
You're
good.
To go? Look at that. She got it.
Good to go.
Do I still have you on camera? I do. Look at that. Okay, so we are gonna do we're gonna get into some of these comments here.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I didn't get a chance to mention this to you before we started, but we will do 3 giveaways today.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you to Dr. Paul and Dr. X for their donation to the spshop.com in honor of Mike Grinder's 70th birthday coming up this coming week.
Nice.
So we'll do 3 Mike Grinder bobblehead giveaways. There you go.
3 Mike Grinder bobblehead giveaways. Yep. Okay, you heard it here, folks. We're doing 3 giveaways, and we will do the giveaways with the giveaway tool to make it completely random and totally not fixed, even though I did win that one time. Let's go through the questions. You ready?
Oh, yes. And sorry, one last comment, though, on Peter Schless. If you want to learn more about his story, read Karen Presley's book, which we will link to. I think it's called Escaping Scientology, I believe. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. P. Langton question. Did DM really play Nintendo 64?
Yes. Do you remember the time when we went up to Big Bear? Do you remember that? In early, like 93?
Yeah.
We went one Christmas. This was in the good years when we got the day off for Christmas time. We went up to Big Bear, California. It was only, I don't know, an hour or so from the Gold Base, maybe a little more. San Bernardino in California. And because I was one of the people that set up the audiovisual systems in David Miscavige's offices and stuff like that. And I wasn't important enough to have to stay at the base when he was there, but I was qualified enough to go set up his systems where he was going to be spending Christmas time at some hotel up in Big Bear.
Right.
And so I was tasked with going up there about 2 days before everybody else got up there, and I had to go up there and set up the TV and set up these specific speakers and amplifiers and the Nintendo system and DVD play, all the stuff that you needed. I don't even think it was DVD at that time. It might have still been VHS.
I think so.
And so yes, he and Mark Yeager and Larice and Greg Wilhare and Guillaume, they would play Super Mario Kart. And David Miscavige would bitch slap them to the hell in that Mario Kart because he was playing all the time. They didn't know that though. When they would get up there and then they would play, he'd be, hey, you guys want to play? And then they'd, oh, it's this. Oh, it's Mario Kart. Okay. And he would just destroy in Mario Kart. So yes, he did.
Catherine Olson. I watched Jason's interview when I was still in the Sea Org.
She blows my mind every week.
I know, me too.
So some people were mentioning this last week when we had the billboards up and we have a link or some of the cards have a phone number. We try every different which way to get to these Scientologists or Scientology Sea Org members. But some of these Sea Org members are pretty resourceful. As Catherine has demonstrated, the ones in Los Angeles, they're out in the wild. They can go out in the wild. They can make it to during lunch or whenever. If they can get to a Walgreens, they can get a burner phone, or they could get on the internet at the Wi-Fi. The Sea Org members that want to leave will figure out a way. If there's somebody there to receive them or somebody that can assist them, it makes getting out of Scientology and the Sea Org so much easier because we already know all the things that they need to do. We can get them a flight, we can get them a plane, we can get them a bus, we can get them a car, we can get them a job, we can
emergency housing,
we can set
career
them up.
Counseling, education, support, whatever is necessary for sure. Yeah. And by the way, on that note, I did want to say, mark your calendars on April 19th. We will do a full hour update just on the Michael J. Rinder Aftermath Foundation.
Awesome.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, let's get some of these questions.
Okay, Rebecca, question: how do you feel about Trammell Tillman from Severance working in Mission Impossible? He said in interviews how much he researched cults, a lot to be Milchick.
It is what it is, man.
Right.
When you're an actor in Hollywood, you're trying to get gigs. You're trying to do work.
Right.
Big work. The bigger the movie, the better for you, for your career.
Right.
If just the main star happens to be some wackadoodle that believes in space aliens infesting his body, I mean, that's part of the jam in Hollywood. You got to play. You want to be an actor in a movie.
Right.
You got to work with people that have different thoughts and points of views than you.
For sure. But still, you reminded me one fact that blew my mind. Was that Shalise Ann Sola from Cults to Consciousness on YouTube. Highly recommend her channel. Her and her husband do amazing work. But I was talking with her and she told me, oh yeah, she had gone to, hello then. She had gone to Golden Era Productions as an extra and worked on set there.
She did an ad or some kind. She was an actress in a Scientology thing.
Yep.
Yeah. It's part of the game in Hollywood. You can't really, I don't know. I mean, what's her name? What's the gal who's doing The Handmaid's Tale?
Elizabeth Moss.
Yeah. She's doing a show about cults. And she's in a cult.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just don't switch to my camera now. You moved me out of frame, I think.
Oh, no, we'll be fine.
All right, Nashay Jones. I just found out where the Scientology location is in my city. How do they explain all of the cash they're bringing in when people are panhandling and sleeping on the sidewalks not very far away? Yeah, I know. I would call that cognitive dissonance. Yeah, completely.
Yeah, they don't really care about any of that nonsense. You'll see there's a video. There's a facility, a Scientology facility called CCHR, the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, located on Sunset Boulevard. And there were some people that were intense outside of their building, and they were hosing them down with a water hose to get them to clean off the sidewalk. That is literally, that's That's being nice to them in
Yep.
Scientology.
Yep, absolutely. Daniel Sander, greetings from Denmark. Hello, Daniel.
Thanks,
Thank
Daniel.
you for
That's very
joining
generous.
us. Jake Lloyd, thank you, Mark and Claire, for helping victims of Scientology leave and get on their feet. Yes, absolutely. It's just the right thing to do. Harvey Denton, didn't people like Marty, Mark Yeager, Guillaume get bonuses in the early days? Yes, very definitely they did.
They did, and we talked about this on a previous video, but they actually got bonuses based on reporting up to L. Ron Hubbard how well Scientology was doing, when that was total BS and it was not doing that well. They got bonuses based on that.
Mm-hmm.
So they were ill-gotten gains.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, somebody mentioned something about the it's gone now. People are here we go.
Glenda Stevenson, question. Do the people working directly under David Miscavige make more than $46 a week? So at least during the time that I was in Religious Technology Center, his personal staff, yes, they did receive weekly bonuses if for any week that their statistics were up. But that was, I want to say at that time, it was maybe 9 or 10 staff. He had 3 stewards and several communicators whose jobs were to type up all his meetings, all his correspondence, all that. Those were the only people who were getting a different pay system than the entire rest of the Sea organization. Melanie Johnson, question. If you had to go to the doctor hospital, how would the bill be paid? Great question.
That's a good question.
Short answer, workers' comp. So for example, when I broke my leg, and also, by the way, to go to the doctor, you had to have authorization from at least 5 or 6 people to even go to the appointment. It had to be, you had to plan way far in advance. There was no emergency rush visits to the doctor or to the hospital unless it was like, an extreme case scenario. Code Monkey, the flip burgers forever threat doesn't make sense to me. Burger flippers make way more money in a week than SOs, Sea Org members make in a year. And they let you go home and talk to friends and family with days off. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Great comment. And that's where we were so exhausted all the time and such a lack of resources that, and it just wears you down until finally, even through the fog of exhaustion, malnutrition, underpaid, long hours, all of that, even then you go, you know what? Flipping burgers sounds absolutely amazing. Let's get out of here. But yeah, Mark and I have talked about this so many times. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'll flip burgers the rest of my life. I love making burgers. Morgan Freeman's favorite freckle. Okay, then. Can you imagine a future of Scientology being an elderly Miscavige or his successor reclusively living on a compound with last few hundred diehard Sea Org members, leading to a Jonestown situation? Unfortunately, I hope and pray that never happens, but from the many abuses we saw, it certainly is not. There are so many similarities for sure. I mean, yeah, that's a scary thought.
I don't know about the Kool-Aid, but they would definitely just be on that compound for the rest of time. They would. I don't know that they're. I don't know if there's a reason for they would in Scientology why they would go to the Kool-Aid option, but I don't think they would. I don't think they would do that part. I think if they were told to, there might be some of them that would do it, but I think that there would be a bunch of people that just be like, well, if you guys are all going to off yourselves, then I'm just going to take off. I don't need to be here.
I hope so. I hope so. I don't know. AGT Mom, the L. Ron Hubbard auditorium that they want to build in Clearwater, won't much of the work be done by Scientology staff, many of which are minors? Wouldn't knowing that help slow down the sale of the land?
I think they would just have contractors build that building. They wouldn't. That Scientology, now that they do have a lot of money, they have learned that it's cheaper to just have professionals build the buildings than to have the Sea Org members just mess up every single possible step of the construction and then have to hire the professionals to come in and fix it or tear it down. Or, I mean, they've wasted hundreds of millions of dollars over the decades on doing things incorrectly because that's not what they do for a living, or it's not up to the most recent codes or whatever it is. And so they have these big architect firms and construction firms just build these things for them now.
Right. Even the buildings that were built most recently when we were still there, for example, Bonnie View, Hubbard's house on the
Well, that was one of the ones that was a sort of a hybrid at the time. There were Sea Org
Hybrid, yeah.
members working on it and
True.
messing up things.
True.
And eventually they were just like, no more Sea Org members. We're doing this professionally.
Yeah.
And then they did that in Florida with that new flag. That was 99% of that was done by outside contractors.
Yeah. And that's where Scientology evolves from the multiple different lawsuits that have been filed over the years, and they change what they're doing to protect themselves more so. Anyway, yep. JC Comanche. Oh, Comanche. How do you say that? Comanche?
Comanche. Yeah, Comanche. That was one of the, I was wondering if he was from one of the tribes that I'd worked with on many of the projects. And in fact, he was from the Jeep Comanche tribe.
Yeah. Received my giveaway hoodie yesterday. Thanks. Yay. You're welcome. Oh, yeah. So let's do one of the giveaways now. Then we can answer a few more questions.
Well, the time has come here, babe.
Yep.
Okay, let me get this comment off there. Thanks, JC Comanche. Okay, what are we doing here? Oh, we're gonna do a giveaway. Let's go to the giveaway.
So get in your hashtag Xenu, XENU, if you haven't already done so. We will do 2 more thanks to Dr. Paul and Dr. X's generous donation to the SP shop, which benefits the Michael J. Render Aftermath Foundation.
Here we go. Ooh. Necessary trouble.
Boom.
Look at that. See,
there you go.
You'd think it was rigged because Claire did bring up that she liked that name, but we don't have. This is StreamYard is running the show here, guys.
Yep, our team behind the scenes can confirm 100% that was not a rigged result. So congratulations, Necessary Trouble.
She gets a Mike Render bobblehead.
She or he or what? Yep.
Yeah,
Mike Render bobblehead. If you already have a Mike Render bobblehead, just let me know by email what you would like as an alternative. There we go.
Awesome.
Congratulations. All right.
Now the people are really going for the entries here.
There we go.
Let's go back to the.
There we go.
Okay, let's rip through some more questions. Oh, I like whenever these. I like when you guys
Kelly BC.
Bring this up more often.
Claire, how is your book coming? Very good. Thank you. It's been challenging. Work, kids, busy, but that's okay. I'm working on it. I had a very good meeting on it on Friday and about 2/3 of the way there. So coming along. Thanks for asking. Mary Edwards, how well known is David Miscavige's lifestyle within the Sea organization? Very unknown.
I would
only
say
a select few. Only his inner circle really knows, even where he is at any given time.
Yeah, he likes to play this game of hide and go seek with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody knows where he's going to be necessarily and when.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to just ambush people and show up.
Yep.
Sometimes he has to announce that he's going to be in a certain place at a certain date, and he hates that. That's like his worst nightmare. And I think he's in like South Africa right now or something like that, which is probably not a good place to go if you're David Miscavige.
I wouldn't imagine so.
But
I don't think any place is a good place to go if you're David Miscavige.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. As we've mentioned before, his absolute worst fear is being served and having to show up for deposition.
Yeah. And so, but within, I would say even at the international headquarters, there weren't that many people there that knew the intricacies of how well he was living. And that I know they knew he had nice cars and because they'd see him driving those things around that property.
Yep.
But I don't think they knew he was getting $300,000 a year.
No.
I don't think they knew any of that, but they knew that he had it better than them.
Right.
But when he goes to the organizations like in Los Angeles or these other places, they have no clue. Like I would say 99% of the Sea Org members in those locations have no clue. Only the people that work directly for him in those locations or that he's inviting out to dinners or doing social activities would even get a glimpse into that world of his finances and how he does.
Yep.
Good question, Mary. Thank you for that. Okay, here's another one.
Question, Brooke Murphy. I see at the organization near me that I can go on a tour. What might that entail? Thanks for all you do. Yeah, so a tour, I know actually many people have mentioned this through that, called into them to the Aftermath Foundation, like, oh, I went and did a tour. Do I need to be worried? And we're like, just don't give your real name or any information. And sure, go ahead. But just be careful. They're
Yeah.
like, one of my favorite questions was somebody who called in. He was like, I just went in like 2 hours ago. Are they going to be following me? I'm like, they have much bigger problems than that. So just, be careful, be cautious, don't go back, and you're good. There you go. Ian Rafalco in the house. Hey, Ian, worst Purif story from either of you? Okay, I have a good answer to that.
Okay, good.
So I did the purification rundown when I was 14 years old and got up to taking 5,000 milligrams of niacin, which, by the way, from what I've looked up now, is carcinogenic levels of taking niacin, not recommended, especially not for a 14-year-old.
And don't you have to take the 5,000 every single day?
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so I was about 3 weeks in and I ended up being up all night throwing up vitamins. And it's absolutely the worst thing to throw up, by the way. And yeah, and then they told me, oh, oops, you did the purification rundown too long. So you're good. Don't do it anymore. And it was awful. And I still have trouble taking vitamins, actually. That gag reflex kicks in because of that memory. So there you go. That was mine. Do you have one?
No.
Oh, there you go. Cool.
I did it twice and I just was like, whatever.
Yeah.
I did take a gazillion niacin and all that good stuff, which is uncomfortable, but yeah, I don't really.
They made a lot of people redo it after we left for months and months and months at a time.
Well, I redid it when I had to do the running program. I think I had to redo the Purif before I did the running program. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I had to do it again, even though I did it when I was like 12 years old or something like that. I had to do it again in my, I think I was 20 something,
Yeah.
There you go. There's
Jonah Harris. Heard anything about the former Int management, Midoff, Jaeger, etc.? By the way, I drove past Gold the other day. Surreal to see in person. I'm a big fan. Thanks, Jonah. Appreciate it. And no, we have not heard. Somebody sent us, I think SP Spanglish just sent us a picture of James Byrne at PAC.
Yes.
I just saw that. Anyway, yeah, no, we don't have. Unfortunately, it is a crazy piece of Scientology that they can vanish top executives who, as they have done. So Ray Midoff, Guillaume, Mark Yeager, Mark Ingber, rest in peace, Norman Starkey. Anyway.
We do hear from, in addition to hearing from former Scientologists and former Sea Org members, we also do hear from a lot of family members of Sea Org members and Scientologists, excuse me, where they just don't hear from them. They know they're in Scientology. And then sometimes they'll say, hey, my relative's name is this. Do you know where they are? And then we can usually, through the network of Sea Org members, we can usually find out where that person is currently or was last we knew. But they just don't hear from them.
Yeah.
They just don't hear from their family member that joined Scientology. And they don't know, like, they want to know, like, what do they do all day? And what do they? And so a lot of people that do watch this channel are family members or associates or ex-friends or somebody they went to school with or college, ended up joining Scientology. And then that's how they find us, as they're trying to find that person. But yeah, we haven't heard anything about those guys. And the other thing is there are people on the internet that are constantly searching like the public records to see if there's a death certificate of any of these people. So when some of these people do kind of pop up on a public records search, that's usually when we find out about it, because somebody that's close to us will say, hey, we just saw that this thing happened or that thing happened. But yeah, public records, they try to stay away from that, but they kind of get into a little trap when they do vote, because they vote, Scientologists vote, and they use their votes as little bargaining chips with their local politicians. Because if you've got, it's a perfect example. If you're in Golden Era Productions and you're in that county, that's I guess it's Riverside County is where they're located.
Yeah.
So if you've got a 500 votes, that you're winning the election in Riverside County if you can lock up 500 votes. So Scientology will schmooze they don't care. They're not, as far as I've seen, they don't really care the party. They don't care if you're a Democrat or if you're a Republican or if you're an independent or if you're a Green Party or Labor Party. They don't care about any of that nonsense. They just care if you're going to cause them grief. And if you're going to cause them grief, they're going to try to get you locked up before that happens. And if they can hand over an election to you, then they 100% will do it. If they get you, if they know it's going to be a tight race, they'll study both people and they'll figure out which one's going to be the most pro us.
Oh yeah, completely.
And they'll wine and dine them both to sort that out. And then whoever is like 100% theirs, they just tell everybody at the base. We would literally get a sheet saying this person, it wouldn't tell us who to vote for, but it would say Johnny, candidate A, loves psychiatry, and Billy, candidate B, loves the way to happiness and is very supportive of our programs. And then we got to vote for guy number 2.
Yep. And actually, sometime within the last 4 or 5 years, somebody sent us a whole roster of about 10 to 15 staff from the headquarters that had participated in a local race, running a 5K.
Yes.
And of course, top 3 winners were all members of the C organization. I mean, yeah, of course.
Yeah, it was wild.
It was crazy. Anyway.
It was kind of a crazy thing that we could see the people and
we knew all the names. There was nobody new.
Yeah. And I was like, they're letting these guys go run 5Ks now to
support some local cause, to try and be like, yeah, no, we don't work 120 hours a week. See, we run 5Ks and we win them all.
Yeah. Here we go.
All right.
Yeah.
Joel Ashby, Scientologists smoked unfiltered cigarettes back in the day. How healthy is that? Right. Exactly.
Camel non-filters, baby. Camel straights.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do the second giveaway. And then we'll do a few last questions and then we will wrap up.
Okay. Here it is. I'm going to give the giveaway. I'm flipping over to giveaway mode.
Perfect.
Okay. Now I've got to, congratulations again. I'm going to draw again. Here it goes. Okay, you guys should be seeing that. Oh, Dalton, you saw Dalton.
Ooh.
Code. Oh, Dalton again. Oh, Clara. Oh, Kelly BC.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Kelly, please send me an email, claire@blownforgood.com, and we will get you your Mike Rinder bobblehead.
Awesome.
Thank you for participating.
Yeah. John Smith says this is a great cast.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know what that's talking about, but thank you. Appreciate it. I assume he's talking about the chat.
Yes.
And then let's see. Let's answer some more questions here. Let's see. I got some more starred ones. I do. Okay.
Sabine, question. It seems that David Miscavige has money stashed aside in some kind of fiscal paradise overseas. Why do you think he hasn't left already? Why does he bother staying? Yeah, well, if you're in complete control, why not stay? And I mean, he doesn't have to answer to anybody. So it's not like he can do whatever he wants. Right.
Yeah, he's got to kind of fly below the radar and not get scooped up by the law enforcement or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I mean, it's just like any other mafia boss kind of situation. He's got a good cushy gig right now. I mean, he does also get to hang out with his buddy, Tommy Boy, Tom Cruise.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets to they go off and they do all sorts of adventures and stuff. They go on quests, him and Tom. So yeah, he's got a good gig going.
Oh my goodness. Pete Jensen, TV. Hey Pete, question. I've heard when they ask that question during sec checks or whatever to get into the Sea Org, they try to convince you it may not have been LSD. True? Yes, that is 100% true. That happened with my stepdad, Hugh Witt. The same person who was called as a counter expert witness in the Danny Masterson trial. He thought he had taken LSD, and Richard Reese at the time tried to convince him that it was not LSD.
Yeah, they do this thing. It's kind of a crazy thing. They say, hey, listen, if you've taken LSD, you can't join the Sea Org. But then they're so desperate to get new people that then they're like, Let's do an investigation.
Right,
What
and-
exactly did you take? Did it say LSD on
And
it?
another key question that they ask is like, well, did you hallucinate though?
Mhm.
Did you hallucinate? Well, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. If you didn't hallucinate, they're willing to strike it off the list
Yeah.
and say, no, it was probably something else.
You
You know?
got given something else. It wasn't the right. It wasn't. They have this thing where there was a lot of stuff going around, and everybody called And the best part about this, the people that are telling you this are like 22 years old. They've
Right.
never seen LSD. They've
Never even
never
heard of
done
it.
LSD. They don't know anything. They grew up in a suburb in La Cañada,
Right.
and their parents were Scientologists. They've never even seen a drug in their life.
Yeah.
And they're like, back in the day.
And you know what's funny though, too? You just made me realize I'm willing to bet money there's drugs far worse than LSD now that probably cause hallucinations or whatever. But that doesn't matter because that's not on the list. And Hubbard didn't say they couldn't join the Sea organization if they took a drug that was created 10, 15 years after he died.
Yeah. Also, I think now the amount of drug use that's legal, even prescription drug stuff, is so much more than it was in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s when they were making up all these rules. So that is another thing about Scientology it is a thing that they struggle with, which is L. Ron Hubbard sealed all their rules in a time capsule. They're not supposed to change them. Now, to be fair, David Miscavige has kind of worked around that. Is whenever it's not good for Dave, he says he has a fun little game he plays. He says when he wants to do something and change something that L. Ron Hubbard wrote, he'll say, we found the original writings and they weren't L. Ron Hubbard, and another person did this. And in a lot of cases, it was Dave who did it the time before, where he changed something. And then they say, we went in and we found the real stuff and this was never supposed to be done. And then they'll say, L. Ron Hubbard actually said that we were supposed to do X and not Y. And David Miscavige was the one who changed it from X to Y.
Right.
And he changes it back to X, or he changes it to Z, like whatever way will work best for Dave. And then he'll throw all these other people under the bus that either escaped or they went to the RPF or whatever.
It was all their fault.
He lays it all on them. And then he's like, yeah, that was that guy over there. I had nothing to do with that. And everybody at the base is like, bitch, please. That was you 100%. We were there. We know about this. You were the one that did this.
He is the master of do as I say, not as I do. And then, play innocent when he does some big investigation.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
a bunch of nonsense.
All of Scientology does have to play by all of these rules that L. Ron Hubbard sort of locked in through the 50s, through the 80s. But David Miscavige, he can kind of maneuver around those where he really, really needs to. He'll figure out a way. And he has over the last 20, 30 years. He's done this many, like I would say, dozens and dozens of times where he's revised or manipulated Hubbard stuff, or just would find that's the other thing. They've had all his writings since the 1986. They're constantly finding new things that they haven't gone through. It's like, how can you guys still be finding stuff? Like it's been 40 years. You've read everything 50 times over. It's all been digitized. How are you finding new stuff?
Yep. Just confirming what we've been saying all along.
Okay. One last giveaway.
Yes. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined us today.
Got a super sticker from Skip. Thanks, Skip.
Hey, Skip. Thank you.
Skip's another guy. He was in Celebrity Center when Yvonne Jens was there, and when Scientology had all these hot celebrities in the 70s and the 80s, and he knows all this stuff. Thanks for joining us, Skip.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, here we go. We got a screen, we got the giveaway, we got Kelly, congratulations, we got the draw again button. Boom. Okay. If I win or you win, babe, we're gonna get strung up.
I'm not gonna win because I didn't type. There you
typed
go.
a comment.
No, but you have to do #Xenu.
Oh, that's
congratulations, Lily B212. Please send me an email, claire@blownforgood.com.
Got it. Yeah.
Thank you for participating in our fun
Lily
weekly draws.
B212. I can't believe that Hamid Agian hasn't joined us this week.
Oh my gosh. Will you ever get over that?
It was the best. Hamid, she's like literally, I gotta clip it. If you know how to clip stuff, clip it, send it to us. I'll post it. But
fun.
She says literally,
it'll be fun.
Hamid Agian, thank you. And I looked and I'm like, it says ham it up again.
Oh my goodness.
It was the best. It was the best. Thank you guys. We had let's just see, I do another thing where I just throw up people's comments while we're doing the outro.
Yeah. And by the way, I saw we have a few people joining us for the first time today. So thank you so much. We appreciate you watching. If you get the chance, hit like, hit subscribe. It helps with the algorithm and helps us get the message to those who should be getting the message.
We used to do all this, and then we had the outro, so we kind of stopped. But yeah, we got the giveaway. We got if you want Xenu as my homeboy or any other kind of merch, Blown for Good merch, we've got hats, mouse pads, stickers, books, bobblehead. We got all that. Bobbleheads are on
the SP shop.
The SP shop, which we'll get to. But please subscribe to the Aftermath channel on YouTube. We're trying to get the Aftermath channel to have over 10,000 subscribers so that we can do fundraisers for the Aftermath. We can just do those on the Aftermath channel. And then that way it's very easy administratively, because we don't, when we're doing a fundraiser for the Aftermath, we want all of the money to go to the Aftermath. And so, yeah, we're trying to get it so we can just do the fundraisers on the Aftermath channel's YouTube channel.
Yes. And then any other YouTube channels that want to join in and participate can be created in such a way that that's very easily done. It's a really slick feature of YouTube to be able to support the foundation. So yeah, we'll do news and updates, dedicated hour, just talking about people we've helped, programs we're launching, updates from the newsletter that we sent out recently, and so forth, which, by the way, is also now available at theaftermathfoundation.org.
Yeah. So if you want to see the latest newsletter, which has all sorts of exciting new stuff that we've been up to.
Yeah.
And you can also, I think, if you read that, you can kind of see where things are headed. We do have some very slick surprises that are coming up.
Completely.
And then also I wanted to say, we did talk about the bobbleheads, but we've got SP bracelets. That's suppressive person bracelets. You can get one of those. You can get fake Navy Davy dolls. These little awesome dolls are behind me here. Where are we there? Those little guys right there. I got 3 of them just hanging. One of them likes to.
We know David Miscavige is a big fan of those. Remember what that police officer said?
Moly.
I don't know if Apostate Alex is here. I don't want to misquote it, but it was like, it's
emotional distress.
Yeah, they cause emotional distress.
These little dolls right here, these little guys, they cause emotional distress to Sea Org members because.
Yeah. Which, by the way, what does that say about Scientologists being able to confront and shatter suppression? Not a hell of a lot.
It's not a good day in Scientology when a little teeny little doll, little elf on the shelf doll, modeled after fake Navy Davy gives you stress. Yeah, but so you can get fake Navy Davy dolls, bobbleheads, SP bracelets. We also do have these. I can't show it. I can't reach it. We've got these.
Don't drop him.
We got Mike. We got these Mike Render bobbleheads. And then we also have some special edition Mike Render bobbleheads and Leah Remini bobbleheads that are, you can either just get the bobblehead by itself of either one of them, or you can get a signed headshot with a bobblehead of Mike, or a signed headshot of Leah with her bobblehead. And then if you're like a complete baller and you're just wilding out and you want to go crazy helping out the Aftermath Foundation, you can get a set of both of them and a combined headshot that they've both signed, right?
Yep.
It's Leah and Mike in one shot. They both signed it, and you get a Leah bobblehead and a Mike bobblehead. And all of the proceeds of that go towards helping people escape or get their feet back on the ground after leaving Scientology. Yep. So what do we call these, mini Mikes or?
Yeah, mini Mike, or a Mike Jr.
Mike Jr. Awesome. Okay, yes. I think we did it all. We covered it all. We did it. It's another day. Thank you, guys. Does help.
Happy Sunday to everyone who's joined us here.
It does help us if you like and subscribe. because Scientologists, they can't subscribe to our channel because they think Scientology is going to track them down. They can't. Nobody's going to track you down for subscribing to a YouTube channel. That's kind of ridiculous.
Not a thing.
Anyway, I think that's it, right? We're good?
We're good.
Thanks, guys. Until next time.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to help support the channel, feel free to check out the merch store link in the description. We have Hail Xenu, Xenu is my homeboy, and BFG branded mouse pads, shirts, mugs, all sorts of other stuff in there that helps us to bring you new content on a regular basis. You can also pick up a copy of my book, Blown for Good, Behind the Iron Curtain of Scientology, in hardback, Kindle, and Audible versions as well. There's also a link to our podcast, and you can get that on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to watch another video, you can click on this link right here, or you can click on this one here, or you can click on the subscribe button right here. Thanks a lot. Until next time.